been established, I'm going to talk about a supplement that I have been trying relatively recently. So I'm gonna pull it up here now. It's a GABA supplement. Yeah, for some reason my camera kind of mirrors that, so it kind of has the word backwards, but you may be able to kind of figure out that it means GABA. So what GABA is a natural neurotransmitter that occurs in our brains. Now, if you know somebody who knows things about, neurotransmitters and the anatomy and physiology of our brains would know that we have excitatory neurotransmitters and we also have inhibitory transmitters. So what that means is excitatory neurotransmitters increase activity between the neurons that it's being synthesized in, whereas inhibitory neurotransmitters reduce activity and between the neurotransmitters that's being synthesized in, and GABA is considered an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So when it's produced in certain parts of the brain, that area of the brain kind of becomes less active. It doesn't really work in the same way as benzodiazepines, since benzodiazepines make certain parts of your brain produce more of that chemical, whereas this doesn't really make you produce that chemical, but rather you're directly consuming that chemical. So, and supplements is that technically supplements are not regulated by the FDA. Like, I do know the FDA does have to regulate over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen, but substances like that are considered over-the-counter medications. They're not really supplements. Technically, when something is labeled as a supplement, they kind of have more leeway with what they can and can't put in it. For all you know, a supplement you're taking could have rat turds in it, and you would never know. You would never know that there's a rat turd in the supplement you took most recently, and there would be no way to find out for sure if there is or isn't a rat turd in there. I mean, technically I'm not wrong, but kind of have to pick your battles, make sure that you're getting it from a reputable brand, look at customer reviews, try and see if you can find out the company they're manufactured from, see if you can find out what kinds of people are affiliated with the company that they're coming from to make the best decision on whether to take it. And if you're wondering what is the first supplement I took by the Now brand, it was actually betaine hydrochloride. I've had a lot of success with that. It has helped with a lot of my IBS symptoms. Other thing that kind of makes Now a reliable brand is they try to avoid using fillers and unnecessary ingredients. Someone who's educated on medications would know that with a medication or any kind of like type of pill or substance like that, there will be an active ingredient and there's also inactive ingredients. Like, for instance, an active ingredient is the ingredient in the drug that does the effect that it's intended to do, whereas inactive ingredients are other ingredients that compose the pill, but they don't do what the drug is manufactured to do. Like, for instance, with Tylenol, the active ingredient is acetaminophen, but the inactive ingredients may be starch or red number 4 or blue number 7, etc. Also, an important thing to understand when you go on a official prescription medication and then you go to a generic of that same medication, or if in the case of a supplement or over-the-counter medication, go for another brand of that same active ingredient. So, for instance, like, I'm going to use my Adderall as an example. So you may take the official name brand of Adderall, but let's say, your insurance doesn't really want to prove that, and then they push you to go on generic Adderall. You may see that the capsule looks different, and that's because with generics, they use different inactive ingredients, but they still have the same active ingredients. So, for instance, generic versus name brand Adderall, they both have the active ingredient, which is mixed dextroamphetamine salts, but, some of the inactive ingredients may be different. So, the generic may have, yellow number 10 or vice versa. So, got to keep that in mind, because somebody, may tolerate the active ingredient really well, but not tolerate to the different inactive ingredients so well. That's why somebody can tolerate one brand of a drug, but not tolerate another brand of that same drug so well. Back on the subject of my GABA supplement, so I haven't used it that many times. I've only used it on and off for like a few weeks. So even though I know they don't work like benzodiazepines do, so it's likely to determine that that the risk of addiction or dependency is likely going to be lower than with the benzos. It's important to be cautious and to be aware, because, like I said, technically they're not regulated by the FDA, and something that implicates is that supplements don't have to go through as much formal supervised testing in order to be released to the public, like something that an over-the-counter prescription drug would have to go back to. So with that in mind, that would make it harder to know the exact risks of dependency with this, since that wasn't really tested. But like I said, since we don't know, it's better to be safe than sorry. So what I'm trying to say here is, since we don't know for sure how great of a chance we have at becoming dependent on this supplement, it would be better to, you know, go for a less is more approach. So I wouldn't recommend taking it every single day, but maybe take it on days where anxiety is higher, like when you have a lot more unexpected plans, or maybe, you know, when you have like a job interview or something. But something else to keep in mind is, since, you know, GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, so since it kind of slows our brain down, it may slow your reaction time too. So I wouldn't recommend driving or using dangerous machinery when under the influence of a GABA supplement, since you might not be able to react as quickly. But other than that, and based on what I know, it's unlikely to do any serious harm to you, considering, you know, our brains already naturally produce it, so it's not like you're putting something in your body that your body doesn't already have. So, GABA supplements can be helpful, but be careful. Kind of common sense, but figured it would be worthy to say. But yeah, that's kind of all I have for today, so hopefully, you know, my video was still able to be listened to in a conducive manner, even though I didn't really pre-plan this one. I kind of just wung this one and I took it as it went. But sometimes it can be good to do that. You're more likely to kind of think of spontaneous things in unstructured environments like this. So yeah, hopefully that made it interesting in a way. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.